Welcome, Louise, to the Dating Intentionally podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you. I know we are going to have such a juicy, important chat today, so I can't wait to get into it.
Yes, I've been binging your podcast all week. I seriously love it. For listeners, the podcast is called Healing Honeys. It's everywhere. It's so good. You've been doing this for like 4 years, right?
Yeah, 4 years. And
Amazing.
thank you so much. That means a lot because I know as a fellow podcaster, we pour our heart and soul into these things.
We're picky. We're picky about our podcasts as podcasters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. I just love to be able to help other people in the ways that I've been helped through therapy and through podcasts like yours. And just it's just like a ecosystem of giving back and educating, and it's good. I love it.
Yes, that's beautiful. Well, the first thing I always ask all my guests is what are you being more intentional about, or what do you want to be more intentional about?
Great question. At the moment, I am being more intentional about my time. So I have always been someone that is like running three businesses, living between two countries, working across different time zones. And I've realized that it's not conducive to being the best version of me. So I really have started to focus on more intentionally planning my day out, always making sure that I come first in the morning, because that is not what used to happen. Going to the gym, having my breakfast, having my smoothie, having my supplements, and then starting the day. Just as simple as like rooting into intentionality around my time. I'm not very good at putting myself first, and I'm learning to do that at the moment.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing it literally at the top of your day. What time does your workday start then? Like, how much time are you giving yourself in the morning?
I love this because everyone thinks like because I'm such a hyper worker, like I work all the time, that I'm going to be part of the 5 a.m. club. And I am quite the opposite. I am the biggest proponent of sleep being our greatest regulator, our greatest healer. So honestly, you will really never see me getting up or even waking up before 7:30 in the morning. So I don't start my day super early. I think that sleep is so important to just help me
Yeah.
be a good version of me.
I love that. I struggle with this too because I'm like a slave to Instagram. I'm like I need to get my Instagram post up right away and like I'm like eating breakfast, I'm like posting, it does not work. Yeah.
Yeah, the grip of social media is real, whether you are a creator or just a consumer. And I think that for me, stepping away from that for a little while was really good.
Yeah.
It's really like a dopamine addiction, like so many other things in life. So putting some
Yeah.
boundaries around that has been good for me.
Well, you've clearly done so much work on yourself. You use your platform to teach others how to do it, the process. Obviously, it doesn't replace therapy, but I think the guidance is so helpful. And one thing I'm really excited to talk to you about today, because you talk a lot about dating, is attraction. Because you have an interesting take on attraction. And I would love to hear what do you think people are getting wrong when it comes to attraction and dating?
I think the biggest thing that people are getting wrong is that if you feel something, if you feel a butterfly, if you feel a whole swarm of butterflies in your stomach, you inevitably think that that is a green flag. You feel something in your body and someone makes you feel something, and that's it. You're off to the races. And that is what people are getting wrong, is that often those initial feelings are not necessarily nods to this is going to be a path that we should go down. So, at its fundamental, I think we're often confusing sensations with green flags. I could obviously go off on a huge tangent around that, but at its core, and I've been there, like guys, girls listening, there's no judgment in this episode. I have had the craziest dating journey ever. But yeah, just because we feel something doesn't mean it's something we need to pursue.
Yeah, and that's something we hear a lot. I've talked about that a lot, but when did that click for you? Can you take us to that moment?
Yeah. So I started therapy non-related to relationships, really just from the state of my life at the point that I stepped into the therapy room. And I did so much conscious mind work. And it wasn't really until I understood that this was something that was going on in my nervous system, not in my brain, not in my conscious mind. So, what I was consciously thinking about when I was analyzing a person or analyzing how I felt pre, mid, or post date was not actually the reality of what was going on. And that's because I then stepped into this space around understanding our nervous system wiring, how it was wired decades before you even went on this date or before I even stepped into the therapy room. And that actually that wiring was impacting my neurochemistry. So that was
Okay.
when I kind of started to realize, like, oh, this goes deeper than therapy and this goes deeper than talking about it.
Okay, I have so many questions. So I guess let's start with, did you have that click moment before, like way before you met your now partner, or was it like around the time you met him?
No, I had a click moment, which was that in therapy, it was very clear that I was looping the same loops. And I love
Right.
this concept of the loop. I always ask people, what is your loop? We all have one. Whether it's trying to fix an emotionally unavailable man or woman, whether it is dating someone who is like, oh, not right now, the timing's not right, trying to fix someone, change someone. We all have a loop. Many of us have multiple loops. Being in therapy helped me realize that my loop was dating emotionally unavailable men. My loop was thinking that I was emotionally available and they weren't. And
Mm,
my loop all stemmed back to my father and the lack of emotional availability in my home. So there was
yeah.
a mic drop moment when I realized, oh, damn, this is daddy issues at its finest. This is the father wound. And I have been looping the loop since I was like 5 years old, but I just had no conscious recollection of doing that because we don't.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying this because there is kind of a stigma around the term daddy issues. It's like, oh, she has daddy issues. Like, we all do. Come on. We
We
all have them. And I
all
have
do.
the exact same thing you're describing was me too. Like every when I hear you talk about this on other shows, I'm like, yep, 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 that's me as well. Same deal, emotionally available dad. Like exact same thing. So let's kind of circle back to the attraction piece. Like how does this wiring we have when again we're very young. We're just growing up. How does that feed into who we're choosing and who what we're attracted to today?
Yes. So in our formative years in life, and even actually before we're born, our nervous systems are being laid. So it's really crazy. The research even showing that if your mother was under very high stress during the pregnancy and you experience in utero stress, it impacts the way that your nervous system is being laid. So we enter this world with a nervous system that's being shaped by everything around us. And in those formative years, it is our parenting that is shaping us and teaching us what love is in this world. What happens when we reach our arms up and, do we get picked up or does dad look at his phone and mum's like stirring on the stove, oh, and we
Mm,
put those arms back down, like, oh, okay, when I ask for something, it's not going to come. And then that
mhm.
repeats, and we learn not to do that. So then we learn that love doesn't come, love is not there when we need it, connection is like unsafe, etc., etc. So we all develop these attachment styles in our formative years. I'm sure you know about this, maybe
Yeah,
many of
yeah.
your listeners will. So basically, then we become adults and we are drawn to what's familiar, not to what's healthy. Like we are wired to seek what we know, even if it's chaos, even if it's inconsistent, even if it's cold, even if it's punitive. And people are like, no, that's so crazy. Like, obviously, I wouldn't choose that. But our attachment style shapes our attraction style. And that is really the foundation. Like, we are
Yeah.
just children, like in our inner bodies that are adults, like out there in the dating world.
So back to the attraction pattern loop that you had. So you had this click moment in therapy. You're realizing, like, oh my gosh, I'm choosing my dad essentially. By the way, like I dated someone who basically was my dad for 6 years. I get it. Um, how did you start to change that? Like change the script, change the pattern? Because that's really hard.
Really, really hard. The first thing is seeing the loop and acknowledging the loop. And the next thing is understanding why it feels so good. So you have to understand why it's working for you and why it has kept repeating. Because yes, it has been causing you pain because dating can be
Mhm.
painful if we are looping these loops. But also in some ways, it is repeating cycles and you are getting biochemical hits through doing it. So let me use my own example so we can understand what's going on here. My father was emotionally unavailable, so my nervous system was used to men that did not show or express love. But as a child, I deeply craved to be loved, to be picked up by my dad, to emotionally connect with him. When I did as a child, whether he did show up on the side of the netball court or whether he did come to do, X, Y, or Z, my body would experience a neurochemical hit, a rush of
Mhm.
dopamine and even cortisol. Like it's a stressful experience, but like in a good way. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's here.
Oh, interesting.
So then when he would disappear and not come the next time, for example, there would be that withdrawal. Acknowledging that the exact same thing was happening in my adult loop helped me understand the cycle, not just see it. So I could see that I would meet a man, I would feel a connection with him, I would feel chemistry with him, and I would feel like a pull to make him pick me, make him choose me, to connect with him. And when he did, it felt so good in those moments.
Mhm.
And when he didn't, it felt so bad. But I was constantly looping back to how can this man pick me? How can this man choose me? Exactly as I was doing subconsciously in childhood. So for me, the biochemical and the neurochemical, it helped me understand this isn't my problem. This isn't my fault. This is literally driven by my biology. And that was the second thing where I started to realize, okay, I can take control of this cycle.
So when you've had that, like, okay, realization, I can take control, was that scary? Was that empowering? Like, how did you feel about that?
It was so empowering to realize that really these men in my life were just a mirror of what was going on inside of my nervous system, were really just a mirror of what happened in my childhood.
I ask because it's like when you realize, when you notice a loop and then you realize you have the control to change it, there is this kind of abyss. It's like, okay, if not this thing I've known, this thing that's been familiar to me, then what? What else is there, you know? So how did you start to teach yourself to look for something different and I guess in a way fix your picker is what they call it.
Yeah. So I did a really big period of decentering men from my life. I realized that men need to go. Basically, like they just can't, I can't keep looping these loops. I need to put myself back on my own pedestal, front and center in my own life. So I went through a period where like I honestly did not date anyone for like 6 months. And that was just such a good time to like come back to myself. I was doing a lot of therapy at that time. I was doing a lot of listening to podcasts, reading books. And I was really just like consciously understanding the patterns that were going on. Then, when I did step back into the dating world, because you're right, it doesn't just like change overnight.
Yeah.
I did so with like the intention of taking things slower. For me, pace, and I know this is something that you talk about
Yeah.
often, pace was the one thing that helped me break this cycle because the adrenaline, the dopamine, the cortisol of the early dating phases, the sex, the chemistry, the fantasy, the withdrawal, the pull, the take, the give, all of that, it is intoxicating.
Yes.
And when I consciously started to slow things down and started to say, no, I'm not going to go on 2 dates in 1 week just because the first one was so good. No, I'm not going to stay up until 2 a.m. texting because I don't want to be the one to end the conversation and them to think, like, oh, why is she doing that? When I started to slow and pace and learn to like calm down in my nervous system, then I started to be able to objectively see, oh, that's a red flag. Oh, that's this. Like that pace allowed me to be conscious around what was
Right.
happening rather than caught up in the whirlwind and tornado of it all.
Yeah, I love this. I love that we're really dissecting this because knowing the pattern it just isn't enough. You do have to be able to slow it down, which I agree fully, to pick at the things like, oh wait, that's the pattern. Because it's like, okay, you know what? You can retroactively see it, right? When you're thinking about past relationships and situationships you've been in. But then when you're in one, it's so much harder because you are fielding all of the other things happening in your body, like chemically, like you've been saying, all the dopamine, the cortisol, all those things and does make it harder to really see through all of that to see, oh wait, that's that pattern I don't want, you know?
Exactly. And we really need to learn how to slow ourselves down. Like I was like high on life when I was
Yeah.
texting these emotionally unavailable men. When you see their name pop up, it's just like the best feeling ever. Like they want to see you, like, oh, they're flirting with you. I had to learn how to calm my own nervous system down. And that's why I stepped into the somatic
Mm,
space. So
mhm.
even things like doing three really big, like physiological sighs where you are like making noise. Trigger warning for
Mhm.
anyone that doesn't like noise, but literally breathing in and going, ah, and like letting
Yeah.
it out,
Right.
even jumping around, putting on a song, and for 3 minutes, just shaking that energy out of my body. And, EFT tapping. There are so many different ways that you can start to bring your body down. Like for
Yeah.
me, weightlifting, walking,
I mean,
exercising,
yeah.
game changing at grounding me down rather than being up in the clouds with the fantasy of these people.
It's so funny because we talk about mindset a lot. Like I know you talk about it, I talk about it, but it really does start in the body. It's not really sometimes just not really mindset. It's like what your body is doing and how you are allowing the energy to flow through your body and how you're grounding yourself and how you're coming back to your own like physical sensations and feelings versus just being up here trying to like calculate why you're feeling what you're feeling.
Yeah, and I want to say something really interesting there, which
Yeah.
is when my therapist said to me that overthinking is a sign of underfeeling, that was like game changing for me because I
Hmm.
would always consciously analyze everything like, okay, he said this, like, oh, I'm going to do this, like, oh, maybe I'll see him on Friday night, like analyzing, analyzing, analyzing. What did he post on his story? Like, oh, should I reply with a flirty message? When I realized that conscious analyzing was an avoidance of me coming down into my body and sitting with the insane discomfort of the fact that this person might not choose me. This person might not, this person might reject me, I realized like, oh, there is a much deeper wound going on here. And the busyness in the dating world is just allowing me to not face up to it. So, yes, it is in the body 100%.
Yeah, you talk about this too. Sometimes it can feel silly to shake it out and to run a loop around your house or like, I don't know, just something or do those loud sighs. It can feel weird at first. What's your suggestion for someone who's kind of in their head about getting into their body?
It's a great question. I would just always say, put on a song and just start to move. Like a song that
Mm,
you love, a song that you know the lyrics to. Even if you're just like in front of the mirror, putting your makeup on, if you can't bring yourself to jump around a room and be silly with no one watching, then you have a wound around expression. You have a wound around expressing yourself. And that is actually at the core of so many of these dating challenges. The fact that it is not safe for you to express yourself, to be seen, to be perceived, to be wanting or needing something. So if you are someone that can't put on a song and jump around a room to it, that's okay. It's a mirror that there's something deeper going on. I would start with music. I think like we all have a
yeah.
song that we love. We all have a song that we can like sing to in the mirror. Start with that and just start to build it up over time. And then do 10 seconds, 10 seconds of shaking every part of your body and going, ah, and yeah, you will feel like so silly, but no one's watching, and it is so healing.
I do the shaking thing a lot. It does help. What's a okay? I'm putting you on the spot here, but what would be like a song you would put on right now? Like, what's a song that's in your
Oh,
rotation?
okay, I've got one. So there's a song by Chapel Roan called Feminine Omenom.
I
And
love that
it's, yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'll be going around the house being like, it's a feminine arm. It's a feminine arm. Like, and my boyfriend will be like, are you good? And I'll be like, oh, I'm so good. And I'll like come in and I'm dancing. And I've like given this song to other people. And it's just such a silly song, but it's
It
got
is
these
really
like,
silly.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
silly, but it's like so fun and it just gets me dancing. Like I dance in front of my niece with it. Like I am just like, let's go, let's express ourselves. Like
Yeah.
healing is expression. And so Feminine Omenon by Chapel Roan, start there.
Yes. I'll link that in the show notes. I think it's a great one to start with. This has all been so great. We're gonna get more into the healing side of things, but I really want to just back to attraction. Tell me about what it was like when you met your boyfriend. How did you meet? And where were you in your journey at that point?
Oh, this is so juicy. You guys are going to love this. Okay. So I had been aware of this loop that I'd been looping. I'd been working on this loop that I'd been looping. I had been slowly breaking it down. I had been not dating or very slowly dating. When I was dating, I had not been sleeping with these people. I had been observing them. I had been getting to know them. I had been seeing whether I felt that they were a safe person for me to share my heart with, my body with, my soul with, all of these things. So I was in quite a good place. But of course, the universe will bring you a test and will bring you a challenge to be like, oh, okay, you think you've healed this? Like, here is the ultimate test. So I ended up in a situation where I met two people at once. They were both in the same place. One of them was an absolute reflection of everything I had already and always dated. Like the most insane chemistry you could ever experience in your life. I remember meeting this man and I was like, that is my soulmate. It was that intense, like the first time
Damn.
I met him. But
Okay.
no, no one is your soulmate on the first time
Yeah.
you've met them. You don't know anything about them.
You can feel that, but that doesn't have to be your truth.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So there was him, and he was like so handsome. He was so avoidant. He was like a digital nomad, like flying around the world, like just the definition of like the handsome, emotionally unavailable man that I'd always gone for. And then I met my partner at the same time. He was the total opposite. He was so grounded. He was so calm. He was so intentional. Like the first guy would say to me, he'd be texting me, "Oh my God, let's hang out. Let's do this. Let's go to Mexico City." Big fantasies, like big excitement, never suggesting an actual date. And
Mm,
then my boyfriend met me and he said, "I'd really like to get to know you better. Can I pick you up tomorrow at 8 p.m.? I'll make the reservation." Tick, tick,
yeah,
tick,
I love
tick,
that.
like everything.
Yeah.
So I was faced with this moment where there was like the old or there was the new. And I had to make the decision that I knew was in my best interest, even if some part of me was like, no, I want to go for the old.
The candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, you're like, "I don't
exactly.
want the broccoli. I
Yeah,
want the candy." Yeah.
exactly, but the broccoli has been, like, the healthiest experience of my life, but
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
like,
so glad.
I wanted the candy at that point.
Okay, so question. You met your boyfriend, you met the universe gave you a test, which I think that's amazing. I feel like I have that too. I have moments where it's like the universe is giving me a chance to kind of
Yeah.
redo this. If you had met your boyfriend, not the other guy, just your boyfriend, like before, maybe right after your moment of disentering men and you're kind of getting back into it, what would have happened?
No, I would have got the ick. I would have been like, "Why are you so boring? Like,
Okay.
where's the passion and the fun and the crazy?"
Okay. I think that's super relatable. A lot of people will come to me, it's like, "Oh, this guy, he's, like, checking all the boxes, tick, 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 but I'm not feeling it." And it's like, "Okay, do you force yourself to, or is that just a sign you have more work to do?" Like, he's broccoli. Like, "Okay, this is healthy for me," but you're just like, "I'm not craving that right now."
Yeah, so I always say there has to be some kind of attraction. Like, I think my
Mhm.
boyfriend is the most gorgeous man I've ever seen in my life. And when I first kissed him, I always say I had baby butterflies. Okay.
Oh,
So when I
okay.
kissed the first guy, it was like a forest fire. Like my whole body was like on fire.
It was
And
like a
then
swarm of butterflies. Like,
literally
yeah.
a swarm of butterflies. And then when I kissed my boyfriend, it was just this experience that I'd never felt before. It was like I had the baby butterflies, I had the baby fanny flutters. Sorry for
Yeah.
being crude, but like we
I
need
love it.
to we need to
Yeah.
we need to be honest so people know what they're looking for. Like I felt those sensations in my body, but I also didn't feel so overwhelmed by them. Like I went home and I thought, yeah, I think I'd like to see him again. It
Mhm.
wasn't oh my God, I have to have this man.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
if I had gone home from that date and I had felt nothing and I hadn't been attracted to him, no, I would never be saying to people like, don't force yourself. You
Yeah.
know deep in your heart, like if either it's not there or if you are not there at that point to be able to enter into something a little bit healthier. It will come.
Mm.
But for me, I always say if you think they're attractive, you think they are interesting, and you would be open to going on a second date with them, and even better, you felt some baby butterflies, like a
Yeah.
little bit
Or
of
like one
butterflies.
butterfly.
Even one,
Just one.
exactly.
Yeah.
One, because they grow over time, right?
Right. Yes.
So yeah, that was how I felt. And I can really relate to the question because it's
Yeah.
it's hard to push through, like if
I mean,
you
guess it's
really
like
don't feel it.
on a healing journey, it's like, what is the tipping point, I guess, is what I'm interested in because it's like, okay, you're doing this work on yourself. You're not yet feeling attracted to the people you know are the person who's probably better for you. But then eventually it kind of tips over. It's like, actually, no, I am ready for this. And I know it's kind of hard to describe, but for me, it was when I felt ready to be open to someone else's quote baggage. I was like, I am ready to accept your flaws, to kind of deal with whatever you come with, like the whole package, because it's like there's always good and bad. That's how I knew in my healing that I was ready to go for the healthier person, and I ended up marrying him, right? Like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love. I think for me, a huge part of the journey that no one ever speaks about, and this is going to get a little bit heavy here, is
Mm.
that I think so many of us are living rooted in shame. So if we had a disrupted parental experience, even if it wasn't negative, just like an emotionally unavailable parent can do this, it often develops a subconscious belief within us as children that there's something wrong with us, right? Because if there wasn't, daddy or mummy would like love us all the time and they would be there all the time. And so I think we go into dating hiding parts of ourselves. And for me, the more healing I did and the more that I came home to myself to realize I'm a good person. I'm a kind person. I am messy. We are all messy. When I realized that I could share that with another, I realized that it's the safe person, it's the good guy, the good girl that wants to share in that with you. And I realized that the guy that was always running around and the emotionally unavailable person, he didn't want to hold the reality of my lived experience. And I
No.
deserve to be loved. I deserve to be respected. And the person that is the good guy, the good girl, they will hold that with you. So I do think a huge part of it really came in the realization that I was holding shame. When I healed that shame wound, I realized that actually the emotionally unavailable person, that isn't love. That isn't respect. That isn't being chosen and cherished and adored. And I and you and everyone listening, we deserve to be cherished and chosen and adored. So it was a really cool part of the cycle, realizing like ultimately I was the reason that I was in these loops. I have to be direct and say, like,
Yeah.
I was there because I was looping. But healing that shame wound totally helped me see that I deserve to be loved by the healthy guy.
I really appreciate you sharing that and getting deep and heavy. I mean, this is the real stuff we need to know. So thank you. So, Louise, I want to hear, what are some myths around healing that are floating out there in the podcast world, online, on TikTok? What are the myths?
Okay, the first myth is that there is ever a time that you are going to be fully healed. Okay, we can lose ourselves in this self help, self development, self healing journey, believing, and I call it shiny object syndrome, believing when we just get to that shiny object, like at the end of the road, that everything is going to be okay. We'll get the guy, we'll get the girl, we'll get the job, we'll get the baby, whatever it is
Mhm.
that we want. I'll be happy when is the biggest myth. We need to learn to be happy now in the
Mm.
mess, in the unfolding, in the becoming. And that has been huge for me. I really want people to understand that healing and self development and self love is something that can happen alongside relationships, alongside dating, alongside restoring connection. It doesn't have
Right.
to be putting your life on hold until
Yeah.
you are fixed.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I mean, the work is never done. I've been in therapy for over 10 years. I've done it on and off since I was in middle school. Okay. And by the way, in middle school, I was, like, forced to go to therapy, and I would just literally sit there and not say anything. Like, I was like, "I'm not doing this." I was very rebellious. So, I went from there to being like, I see my therapist now, she's like, "Are you sure you, like, need this?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I do." There's still more to figure out. I'm still, like, learning things about myself and, like, going through my healing journey, but now I love it because it's like I have seen the results. But it really doesn't end at all. I wanna touch on one thing you said, though, about learning how to feel happy or grateful in your present life because this does relate to feeling single and how it's like people who are single who are listening to this are listening because they don't want to be single. That's
Mhm.
the truth. So, what are some tips you have around embracing that single life?
So I love this concept of micro moments. I
Mm,
truly believe that at any one moment, one micro moment can change your life. It can change your career, it can change your relationship, and you never know when that micro moment is going to come. So it's about changing your positioning and acknowledging that there are micro moments everywhere just waiting for you. It's shifting that scarcity mindset. Like, there's no good men, there's no good women. This isn't going to work for me. I have a ticking clock. I'm stressed. I'm fearful. It's trying to work on actively shifting that to micro moments and acknowledging that in any day, it's like an array of 1,000 moments where anything could change your life. You could swipe someone on a dating app that's your person. You could meet them in a coffee shop. You could go to someone's dinner and meet someone in the queue for the bar. Like at any moment, you might meet the love of your life. And for me, it's just changing your mentality around that to know it's going to happen. If you want
Right.
something, it is going to
Right.
happen. How can you
Yes.
work on it in the now to enjoy your life until that micro moment happens?
I love that, and I'm laughing because I'm just envisioning going through my day being like, "Is this the moment? Is this moment right now gonna change my life?" I know that's not what you mean, but just like
No,
how I
it
heard it.
kind of is. Like I'll walk into a coffee shop, like I will smile at everyone, I'll start conversations with everyone. I will cold DM people, I will cold LinkedIn
Right.
people. Like I just like know that one
Mhm.
moment can change my life.
So, okay, that's really interesting because it's not just that you're going through life hoping a moment changes, you are creating moments and you're also looking at the moment differently.
100%. So I think it comes back to if we hold a fear of being too much or a fear of rejection, we are not going to allow ourselves to open our heart space and step into these micro moments. We'll go and get coffee and we won't look at the cute guy or girl next to us. We'll keep our eyes down, we'll be scrolling on our phone rather than in that 30 seconds where you're stood next to someone waiting for a coffee, you could make conversation with them. So for
Right.
me, it was really about realizing like when I started to strengthen that relationship with myself and realizing it's just not that deep. It's
Mhm.
just not that deep if 9 people out of 10 ignore my cold LinkedIn message because the
Right.
one person that replies, they might change my career, or the 9 hinge messages might get ignored, but the one might be the love of my
Mhm.
life. It's not a reflection of you. We are all so busy. I just like love to fire out those micro moments. Keep your eyes up, keep your heart
Right.
open, smile. You never know what's going to happen.
But I also wanna add to this, which is that when you're thinking about micro moments, maybe not putting so much pressure on the moment to impact your life like a 180. I think it's also having realistic expectations about these things. Like micro moments don't have to be life changing. They could be small little things, right? Like that also I think it's just kind of seeing the world with a lens of gratitude, being like, you know what, I'm really glad I went out today. It's really gorgeous. Like I'm really glad I actually had a positive conversation with a stranger today, even though he didn't ask for my number. Like it was great. Like,
I agree. I think it's really about just seeing these micro moments as being stepping stones. Okay.
yeah,
So people feel like, oh, it didn't work out with this person. Like, oh, it's never going to work out for me. Yeah, but what did they teach you? What
right.
did you learn about yourself through
Yes.
this that's going to take you one stepping stone closer to the next date or to the next connection? And it's an amalgamation of these stepping stones and these little bricks that we start to build up through interactions on dating apps, on dates, even bad dates. They are
Yeah.
stepping stones to taking you where you want to go. So I agree. No pressure. Just realize we
Yeah.
are unfolding like step by step and day by day.
And it is really your perspective. Okay, so I'm dying to know because you've done so much healing and work on yourself. So, what would the Louise of today tell the Louise of the start of your journey? Now that you knowing everything you know now about healing and what to expect.
Such a good question. Okay, so first of all, I would explain to myself that all of this, like we've already said, is rooted in a dysregulated nervous system. So when my nervous system is dysregulated, and that means that you are basically experiencing like stress hormones pumping around your body, that's not the real me that is texting them back, that is getting excited about something. It's helped me to acknowledge that underneath the biological reactions, there's a version of me that can calmly and
Mm,
consciously analyze, like, oh, it's okay that you did that. Like, it's okay. That was the result of many years of wiring. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is like that we are all living underneath a mask and we show up in the dating world with the best, shiniest version of that mask on in the hope that we get picked and choosed and loved and all of those things. I would go back and tell the Louise, like, it's okay to let that mask down. It's
mm,
okay to share that you've been through bad things and you've been through painful things because that makes you more lovable, not less lovable.
yeah. And I want to say on that note, kind of what you were saying earlier, someone who is ready to meet you where you are will embrace that and not run away because the person who's avoidant doesn't have space for that, like you said.
Exactly. And if they run away, it's not even a reflection on you.
Right.
They are looping in their own loops. And
Hmm.
that was one of my biggest lessons was it was always me considering like how I was impacting their behavior. Maybe I was the problem. If I was
Right.
prettier, if I was this, then they wouldn't have done that. No, they were
No.
always going to do that. And okay, maybe they found someone right after me. Why her? Why not me? Well, maybe she didn't trigger his wounds in the same way. Maybe she didn't need the communication that I needed. None of those things are bad things. It really helped me understand like how other people act is not always a reflection of really
It's
anything
usually
to do.
not. Yeah,
Exactly.
and I tell this to people every day in my DMs, like, their behavior isn't about you, stop making it about you. They would do this no matter who they're dating probably. Yeah, it's and like you said, it's not that deep.
Yeah,
Like, it really isn't.
exactly. And I
Yeah.
do think obviously we do need to take some level of responsibility. Like I'm not really the coach that will say to people like, oh, don't worry, it's all on them. Like they're the problem here. They're emotionally unavailable. They're avoidant. We always need to be being accountable to the fact that we are the only person who chooses who we engage with, who we entertain, who we text back, who we continue to text back, even when we see a red flag. But yeah, for the most part, other people's reactions are just a reflection of their own looping,
Yep.
their own experiences, and their own internal world that, for the most part, they don't know how to sit with. And that's not their fault. We were not
Yeah.
taught how to sit
No,
with
we were not.
our internal world.
That's why we're here. That's literally why we're doing this because no
Exactly.
one taught us. And it's interesting 'cause I feel like in dating, when you are faced with rejection or something not working out, something fizzling out, and there's confusion, you want closure, it's causing you anxiety. It's interesting because it gives you this opportunity to be like, oh, I'm feeling all of these things. What does it mean for me? It's about me. Make it about you, like not about them and what it means that they didn't like you or choose you or whatever. It's like, no, no, no. I'm going through something. This is a chance to understand my loops more.
I love it. I think
Yeah.
closure is so complex. Like what I've realized. So basically, I went through a very, very stressful breakup before my current partner. I was with someone for 3 years, but it was very intense. So it might as well have been longer. And he just called me up one day, never came home, never came to get his stuff, never spoke to me for 2 years. Yeah, it was the
For 2 wait, and
most.
then he came back after 2 years?
Yeah, he emailed
What
me
was he
after
was
two
like, "Hey, what's
years.
up?" Like,
Basically like emailed me after 2 years.
that's so awkward of
No,
him to do.
so literally so awkward. But that allowed me to go on this journey of understanding what really closure was about.
Mm,
And I learned through therapy that often closure is such a deep need for someone to reassure us that we're not a bad person.
mm,
I needed this reassurance from him that for him to do that, there must have been something awful for him to be able to just discard me like that. And it was like the closure I needed was him just to say, like, I love you. I'm sorry this wasn't working for me. It's like, we're okay. And I didn't get that. So closure taught me that, yeah, often it is our own wound that we are looking for someone else to soften and calm and cuddle. And that's not to say it's wrong that we want closure. I was broken for a year, 2 years, because I didn't get that. But it also showed me that, again, like really the journey I had to go on was being able to tell myself, like, you're okay, you're a good person. What he did is not a reflection of you. And yes, you want closure, but no, sometimes you're not going to get it because you cannot control how another person reacts or
yeah.
responds. And that is life.
That's so well said. It is so, so well said. I love that so much, and I'm gonna have to think about that for a while, the whole, like, you want closure basically to learn that you're not a bad person from the other person. Like, you just wanna hear that, and how
Yeah.
can you give that to yourself? Question for you now, like, what are you working on now? You've done so much work on yourself. You mentioned the time thing at the top of the conversation, but, like, when it comes to your own healing, what are you healing?
Yeah, it's so funny because like 3 months ago, I was honestly like, oh, I think I'm done with this healing journey. Like, I have this healing podcast, like, it's my whole career. And I was like, I think I'm like done. And then the universe is like, yeah, good joke. Like, good joke. Here we go. Like, here's like a whole load of shit. This is really interesting. But I am, for the first time in my life, going through like exploring financial dynamics in my relationship where I am the provider, and that challenges everything that goes against what I've been taught. My father is like the tax lawyer, the like money maker of the family. So my wiring is like the man should be the provider. And that's been a real journey for me
Wow.
to like unravel and unpick. And so yeah, I'm pretty like I'm doing pretty good like on the emotional side of things, but that's one thing that I'm working
Yeah.
through at the moment.
That is so interesting. I feel like there are a lot of people listening, women listening, who are in that boat. I was in that boat for I sold a company before, and like
Mm,
when I had that company, I definitely earned more than most of the guys I went out with because the
mm.
business was doing well. But I did grow up in a household where my mother earned more than my father, and it did cause a lot of issues for him, I think, like mentally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, like people don't talk about this. We need to do an episode, or you need to do one, and I need to
I
listen to
know. I
it.
know. I had my mom on the show. She needs to come back, talk about this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is definitely a bit of a mind fuck, when our culture is more that traditional, those traditional values are kind of just throughout our culture of the man needs to earn more, man needs to be the provider. I'm married now and our incomes are both fluctuating. So it's like it depends on the year. But it's like we're a team and it's kind of doesn't matter who's earning more because it all just kind of goes in the same pot at the end of the day. So it's like it's our money in a way. Even though we do have a prenup. It is
Yeah.
separate on paper.
Smart.
But like mentally, it is a mind fuck.
Yeah, it's just been a journey. And I think what I am also realizing is, like you said, like I am in a true partnership. And that
Hmm.
partnership is not necessarily the traditional one. Like he cooks and he cleans and he looks after the house. That's just been really interesting for me to like challenge again something that was wired so deeply into my nervous system, that was like a man should do this and
Hmm.
a woman should do this. And so that's kind of what I've been working on. But yeah, in terms of like my relationship, I would say it's just honestly so easy. It's so easy. Like we
I
don't
love
fight.
that.
Yeah, we're just best friends. We just like have we just journeying through life together. There's really not a huge amount in the relationship other than the financial piece, which is like my issue.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we're working through it together.
so okay, again, your whole life is focused on healing, helping others heal. Was there a requirement for your partner to also be on their own healing journey? What are your thoughts around that?
Such a good question. So it's actually so interesting. So my boyfriend, I nearly said husband. He's not my husband.
Whoa.
My my boyfriend is an only child, and he grew up with a father who had epilepsy. So he was not able to have big, loud explosions as a kid, like many kids would, because there was a chance that that could be very dangerous for his dad, right? So when we came into this relationship, we were very, very different. I was like much more fiery, feisty, communicative, and he was much like calmer and um, more restrained. And I would go as far as saying like avoidant, like emotionally
Hmm.
avoidant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he has been in therapy. He studied psychology at university. He is just open and able to have these conversations. So
That's
I
great.
did, yeah, I didn't necessarily want a guy like on his healing journey. I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd really want to date someone that has like an Instagram talking about like
No, yeah.
healing, but maybe I would. I'm just
Yeah,
like I'm just like so open that you never know how things are going to unfold. I think as
yeah.
long as someone is able to sit in conflict and be able to stay in that conflict and be able to do it respectfully, that was all I needed.
I love that you're saying this because I have heard from a lot of people that I talk to in my DMs and my clients that they're like, I've done all this work. I want someone who is doing the work too. And I just think that it's a really tall order. And your keywords you use are what I use too, which is openness and also just realizing there are so many different ways to work on yourself and how are they in conflict. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. Like, can they have a calm discussion with you and work through things calmly? Then you're golden at that point.
Exactly. And he is so calm, and I'm not that calm. So that's been like very healing for
We're
me.
similar.
Yeah, to like see, like he has like almost like Buddhist energy. He is
Whoa,
so calm, so
Zen.
grounded. He's so zen. But that has been so healing for me because the old version of me needed, excuse my language, the fucking and the fighting and the highs and the lows. And
It's not good for your nervous system.
it is not good because the highs are so high, the lows are so low. And you know what? It gets to a point where like it's not sustainable. And if it is, it will impact your kids. That was why I finally left my abusive relationship like
Oh,
back in my
wow.
20s because I was like, I can sustain these highs and lows. I can handle these highs and lows. But do you know who does not deserve these highs and lows? Is me to
Children.
bring a
Mm,
child into this situation and have their dad be this person. So
yeah.
if you are someone listening to this that is like, yeah, it's passionate, yeah, it's turbulent, I think I can handle this. I always just say, yeah, but how's it going to impact your kids? And then people are
Wow.
like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing they needed to be like, wow, my kids don't deserve this.
That's such a good point. I never thought about that either, but it like makes total sense. Louise, we have to wrap it up soon. I'm sad because I've loved this conversation
It's
so
gone so
much.
quickly.
I know. So, what I want to hear from you before we go is what do you want to see more of in dating culture?
I want to see realness and openness and vulnerability from date one. So I'm not saying turn up without your makeup on. Like, I want you to turn up feeling fire, looking fire, like, great, put your best foot forward. But not showing up with a mask, just being real on that
Mm,
first date, just dropping in something like, oh yeah, like, when I lost my job couple of years ago, or oh yeah, my mum has depression. Like just dropping in like a tiny bit of reality. It doesn't have to be heavy. Just starting to share more is the first thing I would say. The
I
second
love
thing I
that.
would say is just being really open from the beginning. Like, what are you looking for? We go down these dating paths just hoping that things might work out and might turn into what we're hoping for. But actually, if we started asking the questions like early on, we often can find out that they're not looking for anything serious right now. Like they're still
Yeah.
not over their ex. So just at the beginning of the dating, in the first like 1 to 3 dates, just asking like, where are you at in life right now and what are you looking for? Because I am looking for a loving, passionate partnership. People are always
Yeah.
so scared to say like, oh, I
I
want a
know.
relationship. And I'm like, no, it's so cool to want that partnership and own it.
Own
And if
it. Yeah.
yeah, and if they don't feel the same way, then that's okay. It's not a reflection of you, but you found out some really good intel to not waste the next 6 months of your life.
Amazing. Louise, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. Where can we get more of you?
Oh, okay. So you can stream my podcast called Healing Honeys. That's honey with a Y, so Honeys. And then you can find me on Instagram at I am Louise Rumball. I'm also on TikTok, but I don't use that so much. So yeah.
Great. We'll link the Instagram and the podcast in the show notes. Thanks again.
I loved every second of this. Thank you for everything you're doing. I can't wait to check out more of your episodes, and I will hopefully see you very soon.